Have you ever wondered where the light goes when a candle is extinguished? Or more profoundly, have you ever considered what happens to the vast, complex, beautifully orchestrated energy inside your mind, the exact moment your heart beats its final rhythm? We are conditioned by our everyday experiences to think of the end of biological life as a sudden stop. We perceive it as a definitive silence, a freezing of motion, a quiet end to a long journey. But what if that silence is merely an illusion created by the limitations of our human perception? What if the end of our biological clock is actually the beginning of the most spectacular quantum migration in the universe? The human body is not just a collection of biological tissue, bones, and fluids. At its most fundamental microscopic level, you are a localized concentration of energy, a brilliant storm of quantum fields interacting in perfect harmony. You are made of atoms, forged in the ancient cores of dying stars, particles that have been traveling across the vast and quiet cosmos for billions of years, just to momentarily assemble into the shape of you. When a life ends, biology sees a cessation of vital functions. But quantum physics sees something entirely different. It sees a massive, beautiful release. It sees a profound transformation that challenges everything we think we know about existence. Before we journey deeper into this profound mystery of what happens in those critical first 24 hours after our biological end, please allow me to welcome you to our quiet space. I am Walter, the Explorer. If you enjoy contemplating the profound mysteries of our universe in a gentle, peaceful atmosphere, please consider joining our community. We have noticed that 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you could take a brief moment to subscribe, it helps us bring more content like this to you, and it lets us know that you want to keep exploring the cosmos together. Now, let us return to our quiet contemplation of the quantum realm. To truly understand what happens in the first 24 hours after the biological machine stops, we must change our perspective entirely. We must zoom in, past the cells, past the complex strands of our biological coding, past the molecules, down to the subatomic realm, where the rules of classical physics melt away, and the strange, beautiful laws of quantum mechanics take over. At this microscopic scale, the concept of an absolute end, as we understand it, simply does not exist. The first law of thermodynamics, one of the most fundamental and unbreakable truths of our universe, dictates that energy can never be created, and it can never be destroyed. It can only change form. It can only transition from one state of being to another. For many decades, you have been a closed system, a physical vessel holding a very specific, unique pattern of energy. Your thoughts, your deeply held memories, your emotions, the very essence of your consciousness are, at their physical core, manifestations of electrical impulses and chemical gradients. They are pure information, encoded in the delicate, shifting quantum states of electrons dancing across the synapses of your mind. There are roughly 86 billion neurons in a human brain, communicating through trillions of microscopic connections. This vast neural network generates an electromagnetic field that surrounds your physical form, a faint but measurable aura of light and energy that represents the sum total of your experiences. When biological passing occurs, the oxygen flow stops. The cellular factories power down. The electrical storm in the brain begins to quiet into a deep, profound stillness. But the energy that powered that storm the quantum information that encoded your lifetime of memories, does not vanish into nothingness. It cannot disappear. The fundamental laws of physics forbid it. Instead, in the very first minutes and hours, a massive process of quantum decoherence begins to unfold. Imagine a beautiful symphony being played in a grand concert hall. For years, the musicians have played together, bound by the rhythm of the conductor, creating a unified piece of music. The biological end is simply the moment the conductor lowers the baton. The musicians stop playing together as a single, centralized entity. But the sound waves they created are still traveling outward. The symphony as a single event is over, but the energy, the fundamental components of that beautiful sound, have simply dispersed into the surrounding environment. In the first hour after passing, the thermal energy of the physical form begins to radiate outward. You are, quite literally, giving your warmth back to the universe. Infrared radiation, which is just another form of light, streams from the body, gently warming the air around it, interacting with the molecules in the quiet room. Your energy is already beginning to expand beyond the fragile boundaries of your skin. At the exact same time, the electromagnetic fields generated by the nervous system begin to collapse, but the photons that made up those fields are released into the local environment. These subatomic particles of light scatter, carrying with them the quantum signature of those final biological moments. As we move into the second, third, and fourth hours, the process becomes even more profound at the atomic level. The atoms in your body, the carbon, the oxygen, the nitrogen, the iron in your blood, are bound together by chemical bonds, which are essentially shared electrons. As the biological systems that maintain these bonds begin to gracefully break down, the quantum states of these electrons start to shift and change. In quantum mechanics, there is a fascinating phenomenon called quantum entanglement. When two particles interact, they can become entangled, meaning their quantum states are forever linked, no matter how far apart they are separated in space. Throughout your entire life, the billions of particles in your body have been interacting with each other, becoming deeply entangled, forming a massive complex quantum network that is uniquely you as the first 24 hours progress. This internal biological entanglement begins to slowly break down, but it is immediately replaced by a new, much broader kind of entanglement. The particles that were once bound strictly to the coherent system of your body begin to entangle with the surrounding universe. The oxygen atoms from the final breath interact with the atmosphere, the moisture interacting with the air currents. The electrons shifting in the resting cells release tiny, invisible bursts of energy that interact with the matter around them. The energy is not disappearing. It is integrating. It is expanding outwards. Think of a single drop of highly concentrated ink falling into a vast, ancient ocean. For a brief, beautiful moment, the drop is a distinct, separate entity with a clear boundary. But as time passes, the ink begins to disperse. It spreads out, mixing with the water, thinning, expanding, until it is no longer a localized drop. Has the ink been destroyed? No. Every single molecule of that vibrant color still exists. It has simply become part of the entire ocean. It has traded its localized, temporary identity for a vast, cosmic integration. This is exactly what quantum physics tells us is happening to the energy of a living being in those crucial first 24 hours. By the 12th hour, The biological structures are losing their strict cohesion, but the quantum information remains incredibly resilient. Theoretical physicists have debated for decades about the nature of information in the universe. The famous conservation of information principle suggests that the fundamental quantum information that describes the state of any system can never be permanently erased from the cosmos. If you burn a book, the pages turn to ash and smoke, and the classical information of the words seems completely lost. But the quantum information, the exact state of every atom and photon emitted, still exists in the universe. Similarly, the quantum information that makes up consciousness, the unique arrangement of particles and fields that experienced a life, is not erased when the biological book is finally closed. It is simply translated into a different language, a deeply ancient language spoken by the surrounding cosmos. It is gently released from the delicate, temporary structure of biological cells, and given back to the infinite void from which it originally came. The particles that made up the human form are deeply ancient. They were forged billions of years ago in the nuclear fires of long-dead stars, drifting through the cold, quiet darkness of space for eons before gravity pulled them together. The first 24 hours after passing is simply the beautiful, quiet beginning of their eternal journey back home to the stars. As the first few hours of this profound transition pass, the biological vessel enters a state of deep, undisturbed quiet. The rhythmic expansion and contraction of the lungs have settled into a permanent stillness. The heart, that tireless, magnificent engine that pumped life through thousands of miles of hidden rivers within you, has finally rested. To the outside observer, this appears to be an ending, a definitive stop to the vibrant motion of life. But as we adjust our perspective and look closer, zooming past the silent organs, past the resting tissues, down into the atomic and subatomic realms, we see that this silence is merely the preamble to a spectacular new journey. The end of macroscopic movement is actually the beginning of a grand microscopic migration. You are not stopping. You are simply changing the way you move through the vast and mysterious cosmos. When the body begins to gently cool, conforming to the temperature of the quiet room around it, it is participating in a fundamental law of the universe. This is not a loss. It is a profound sharing. The thermal energy that kept you warm, the heat generated by a lifetime of cellular metabolism, is radiating outward in invisible waves of infrared light. Every single degree of heat that leaves the resting form is absorbed by the air, by the walls, by the dust motes dancing in the surrounding shadows. Your energy is spreading, interacting with the environment, gently vibrating the molecules of the world outside your skin. You are literally warming the universe, giving back the heat that was temporarily borrowed from the sun. In these hours, the strict boundary between what is you and what is not you begins to beautifully, seamlessly dissolve. Before we delve deeper into the breathtaking science of this atomic migration, I would like to gently invite you into our quiet community of thinkers and dreamers. I am Walter, the explorer, and it is a privilege to share this contemplative space with you. We have noticed that 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you find comfort and wonder in these cosmic journeys, please consider taking a brief moment to subscribe. It helps us tremendously to bring more content like this to you, and it allows our community to keep exploring the deep mysteries of the universe together. Now, let us return to the quiet silence of the quantum realm and witness the magnificent unfolding of the human energy field. Deep within the brain, nestled inside the billions of neurons that once fired with the electricity of your thoughts and dreams, there are tiny, intricate structures called microtubules. Some of the most brilliant physicists and anesthesiologists in the world have proposed a fascinating theory about these microscopic tubes. They suggest that consciousness itself might be a quantum phenomenon, a delicate, perfectly orchestrated state of quantum coherence maintained within these structures. According to this theory, your awareness, your unique sense of self, is a beautiful, fragile quantum wave vibrating in harmony. When the biological systems fail and the oxygen stops flowing, this quantum state cannot be sustained within the brain. But the fundamental laws of physics tell us that this quantum information cannot be destroyed. It does not vanish into the void. Instead, it undergoes a gentle, inevitable process called decoherence. Decoherence is not a destruction. It is an expansion. Imagine a tightly held secret finally being whispered to the wind. The quantum information that made up the symphony of your mind begins to leak out, entangling with the particles in the immediate environment. The wave function of your consciousness does not collapse into nothingness. It spreads out, weaving itself into the fabric of the surrounding space-time. The unique arrangement of energy that defined your memories, your loves, your fears, and your moments of pure wonder begins to interact with the universe at large. It is a transition from a localized individual perspective to a deeply integrated cosmic state of being. The mind is no longer contained within the narrow, fragile walls of the skull. It is gently returning to the infinite field of energy from which all things arise. As we progress through the 4th, 5th, and 6th hours, this process of returning becomes even more physical and tangible. Consider the water within the human body. You are composed of roughly 60% water, a walking, breathing ocean contained within a biological shell. The molecules of water inside you are impossibly ancient. The hydrogen atoms in that water were forged in the furious, unimaginable heat of the Big Bang nearly 14 billion years ago. They have existed since the very dawn of time. The oxygen atoms were created in the crushing gravitational cores of massive ancient stars that exploded in brilliant supernovas long before our Earth was even a thought in the cosmic dust. For a brief, fleeting moment in the grand timeline of the universe, these ancient particles came together to form the water in your blood, your tears, your breath. In the hours after the biological clock stops, this ancient water begins to find its way back to the natural world. As the body rests, tiny amounts of moisture begin to evaporate, turning into invisible vapor that gently rises into the quiet air. These molecules of water, carrying the physical memory of having been part of you, will eventually drift out of a window, carried by unseen currents of air. They will travel up into the vast blue sky, joining the massive atmospheric rivers that circle our globe. The water that once flowed through your veins will become part of a towering, majestic cloud. It will fall as gentle rain on a distant forest, nourishing the roots of ancient trees. It will flow into streams, merging with the endless, deep oceans. Your physical substance is fundamentally interconnected with the majestic cycles of the earth. You do not leave the world. You simply become the world once again. This atomic dispersal is a testament to the beautiful, unbroken continuity of nature. Think of the iron that courses through your veins, the very element that gives your blood its deep red color and carries life-giving oxygen to every cell. This iron is the heavy ash of dead stars. It is the final element created in a stellar core before the star collapses and violently explodes, scattering its elemental riches across the quiet cosmos. Throughout your life, this iron generated a faint, localized magnetic field around your body, interacting subtly with the massive magnetic field of the Earth itself. When biological life ceases, this localized magnetic signature slowly begins to fade. The iron atoms wait patiently within the resting form, but their ultimate destiny is to return to the soil, to the Earth, to the dust from which the planet was formed. As we contemplate the first 12 hours of this transition, we are forced to confront our deepest misconceptions about separation and loss. We look at the silence of a resting body and feel an overwhelming sense of absence. But the science of quantum mechanics and chemistry teaches us a lesson of profound comfort and staggering beauty. There is no true absence. There is only a change in presence. The atoms that built you, the quantum fields that animated you, the energy that defined you, none of it is lost. It is simply untethered, freed from the temporary constraints of biology. You are experiencing the ultimate release, a majestic unwinding of the complex threads that held you together. For the photons of light that escape your cooling form, time itself has no meaning. According to the theory of relativity, for a particle traveling at the speed of light, the journey from your body to the edge of the observable universe happens in an absolute instant. As your energy radiates outward, parts of you are moving through the cosmos completely free from the relentless, heavy ticking of the human clock. You are re-entering a state of timelessness, rejoining the silent, endless dance of particles that has been occurring since the very beginning of reality. The universe is a vast, interconnected web of energy, and in these first quiet hours, you are simply taking your rightful place back within the infinite whole, dissolving into the mystery from which you originally came. As we drift deeper into the timeline of this profound cosmic transition, crossing the quiet threshold of the 12th hour, the environment surrounding the resting physical form becomes an invisible, magnificent tapestry of quantum activity. We are deeply conditioned by our daily lives to think of the boundary of our bodies as the absolute, finite limit of our personal existence. We fundamentally believe that where our skin ends, the rest of the vast universe begins. But in the hushed, still hours following the cessation of biological life, this boundary is revealed for what it truly is, a beautiful, porous, and temporary illusion. The physical vessel is no longer actively expending energy to maintain the rigid energetic walls that separated it from the outside world. Instead, a deep, silent surrender occurs at the microscopic level. The ancient atoms that have loyally maintained your shape, your complex internal structure, and your physical identity for decades begin to experience an entirely new kind of freedom. This is not a chaotic breakdown, but rather a gentle, orchestrated relaxation of the quantum fields that have held everything in such precise, perfect tension. The energy that defined you is no longer pushing back against the pressure of the universe. It is gracefully allowing the universe to flow in, and in return, it is flowing peacefully outward. Before we explore the magnificent atomic untangling that occurs deep within the dark center of your resting cells, I would like to welcome you, or perhaps gently welcome you back, to our quiet corner of the cosmos. I am Walter, the Explorer. We have carefully built this peaceful space for those who find comfort in the deep, unexplored mysteries of existence, and we have noticed that 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If these quiet journeys bring you a sense of calm and profound wonder, please take a gentle moment to subscribe to our channel. It helps us tremendously to bring more content like this to you, and it ensures that our growing community of cosmic explorers can continue to wonder at the universe together. Now, let us close our eyes to the busy, loud distractions of the modern world and return our focused attention to the silent, invisible dance happening at the very core of our being. To truly grasp the profound nature of what is happening now, we must look closely at the most ancient, carefully guarded library within the human body, the deoxyribonucleic acid, commonly known as DNA. Inside the dark nucleus of nearly every single cell in your resting form lies a microscopic, elegantly twisted ladder of pure genetic information. This molecule is an absolute masterpiece of cosmic engineering and biological memory. It is an unbroken, continuous chain of historical data that stretches back over nearly 4 billion years. The DNA inside you carries the silent whispers of the very first single-celled organisms that floated in the primordial ancient oceans of an early, violent Earth. It holds the biological triumphs, the clever physical adaptations, and the unbroken lineage of countless ancestors who survived long enough to pass this vital quantum information down through the sweeping eons, ultimately culminating in the highly specific blueprint of you. For your entire life, this remarkable molecule has been tightly coiled, fiercely protected from radiation, and constantly repaired by a tireless army of biological enzymes. It has been the silent, unseen architect of your entire physical form. But as the first 24 hours steadily unfold, this ancient architectural blueprint begins to experience a profound and necessary shift. Without the constant active supply of metabolic energy required to maintain its rigid, highly organized structure, the delicate hydrogen bonds holding the two strands of the DNA double helix together begin to softly, quietly yield to the laws of entropy. The doors of the biological library are finally opening. In the strange and counterintuitive realm of quantum mechanics, there is a fascinating phenomenon known as quantum tunneling. This is a bizarre process where a subatomic particle, like an electron or a proton, essentially passes straight through a solid physical barrier that, according to the strict laws of classical physics, it absolutely should not be able to cross. Throughout your biological life, quantum tunneling was actually an essential mechanism, allowing the enzymes in your body to read and meticulously repair your DNA at incredible speeds. But now, in the profound silence of this biological transition, quantum tunneling allows the fundamental particles within the DNA structure to begin slipping away from their ancient constraints. The protons that form the delicate chemical bonds of your genetic code begin to shift, naturally migrating across invisible energy barriers, slowly and irreversibly rewriting the structural integrity of the complex molecule. The information is not being destroyed or violently erased. It is simply being untangled. Think of a beautifully complex, intricate knot that has been tied tightly for several decades. The end of biological life is simply the gentle, patient loosening of the strings. As the DNA begins to fragment at the microscopic level, the ancient biological information it held does not vanish into a void. The carbon, the nitrogen, the oxygen, and the phosphorus atoms that physically made up the complex letters of your genetic code are gradually released from their highly specific, localized arrangement. They slowly fall back into the vast, waiting embrace of the surrounding natural chemistry. The unique story written in your genes is quietly returning to the fundamental alphabet of the cosmos. You are peacefully surrendering your biological blueprint back to the immense universe that originally drafted it. While this incredibly intricate internal untangling occurs, the resting body is simultaneously participating in an incredible, totally invisible interaction with the deepest, most fundamental forces of the cosmos. As the physical vessel lies in perfect, undisturbed stillness, it is completely unaware of the massive, silent storm of high-energy particles passing directly through it. Every single second, billions of ghostly, almost massless subatomic particles, called neutrinos, are streaming silently through the quiet room, passing effortlessly through the solid walls, and sailing straight through your resting form without leaving a trace. These enigmatic neutrinos are born in the furious, unimaginable nuclear furnaces at the core of our sun, and in the cataclysmic, blinding explosions of distant, dying stars scattered across the sky. They travel across the infinite dark gulfs of interstellar space at nearly the speed of light. Because they have almost zero mass and carry absolutely no electrical charge, they interact very rarely with normal, physical matter. To a passing neutrino, your solid physical body is nothing more than mostly empty, open space. During the loud, vibrant years of your biological life, you never once felt these ancient cosmic travelers passing through your tissues. Your highly evolved nervous system was exclusively tuned to the loud, immediate, and necessary signals of biological survival. Shifts in temperature, physical pressure, sudden pain, and simple pleasure. But now, in the deep, unbothered quiet of this cosmic transition, the physical form is no longer distracted by the demanding noise of biological existence. It has essentially become a silent, passive participant in the invisible cosmic weather. The neutrinos passing through the resting, cooling atoms of your body carry ancient whispers directly from the very heart of our burning star. Sometimes, very rarely, a neutrino will strike an atomic nucleus within the cooling tissue with perfect precision, transferring a tiny, microscopic packet of quantum energy before continuing on its endless journey into the deep, dark earth below. In these incredibly rare quantum moments, your physical form is quite literally touching the raw, unfiltered energy of the distant stars. It is an interaction of pure, quiet cosmic poetry, the heavy ash of ancient supernovas which makes up your physical body, being gently and silently greeted by the light-speed messengers of the currently burning sun. This breathtaking cosmic connection extends far beyond our local solar system. Consider the relentless cosmic rays that constantly bombard our blue planet from every direction. These are extremely high-energy particles, mostly individual protons, that have been accelerated to unimaginable mind-bending speeds by the absolute most violent and powerful events in the entire known universe. Supermassive black holes actively consuming surrounding matter, colliding and shattering neutron stars, and colossal, slow-motion galactic mergers happening millions of light-years away. These particles travel for millions, sometimes billions of years, through the vast, freezing, empty silence of the intergalactic void, before finally striking the Earth's protective upper atmosphere. When they hit the atmosphere, they shatter completely, creating a massive, cascading shower of secondary subatomic particles that rain down continuously upon the surface of the planet. As the biological vessel rests quietly in the passing hours, these ancient cosmic messengers continue to fall, quietly passing through the ceiling of the room, interacting subtly with the cooling atoms of the resting skin and bone. You are deeply, fundamentally, and inextricably intertwined with the entire physical universe, and this biological transition only serves to make that staggering reality more profound and evident. In the waking moments of life, we are so intensely focused on our individual daily experiences, our localized, fleeting thoughts, and our immediate physical surroundings that we completely forget our deep cosmic heritage. We build walls, we lock doors, and we strictly define ourselves by our clear separation from the wild world outside. But quantum physics reveals with absolute certainty that this feeling of separation is a beautiful, highly necessary evolutionary illusion for biological life. Yet it remains a total illusion, nonetheless. The first 24 hours after passing is the gentle, systematic, and perfectly natural dismantling of that biological illusion. It is the majestic, unstoppable process of the universe, peacefully reclaiming its borrowed matter. The calcium atoms that form the intricate, rigid architecture of your bones are preparing to slowly become part of the soil, the atmosphere, the global water cycle, and eventually entirely new forms of life. The quantum energy that successfully powered your complex consciousness is expanding, decohering, and returning to the infinite, vibrating quantum field. Even the profound, lingering mystery of dark matter, the invisible and deeply confusing substance that makes up roughly 85% of the total mass in the universe, plays a silent, constant role in this contemplative scene. We cannot see dark matter with our eyes. We cannot touch it with our hands. And we do not yet fully understand exactly what strange particles it might be made of. But we know with absolute certainty that it is there because of its immense, undeniable gravitational pull on visible galaxies. It is the invisible, heavy scaffolding that holds entire swirling galaxies together, the silent, omnipresent architect of the massive cosmic web. As the physical form rests in the quiet room, it continues to exert its own tiny, microscopic gravitational pull on the surrounding universe, and it continues to feel the subtle, gentle gravitational pull of the dark matter flowing continuously through our local galactic neighborhood. The gravitational relationship between your resting atoms and the infinite cosmos is completely unbroken by the simple cessation of biology. You are still physically massive, you are still present in the fabric of reality, and you are still woven securely into the eternal fabric of space-time. As we slowly approach the final hours of the first day, the 18th, 19th, and 20th hours bring a profound, settling sense of deep equilibrium to the physical vessel. The chaotic, localized electrical storms of the conscious mind have completely and permanently subsided into a state of pure calm. The internal thermal energy has perfectly harmonized with the temperature of the surrounding room. The previously strict boundaries of the physical vessel have softened immensely, allowing a quiet, continuous, and beautiful exchange of particles and energy with the immediate environment. The localized biological journey has truly ended, but the magnificent quantum journey is rapidly accelerating. The strictly localized biological entity is slowly becoming a vast, distributed cosmic presence. To observe this profound transition from a perspective of pure quantum physics is not to see tragedy, loss, or ending, but to witness a breathtaking, unimaginably complex transformation. It is the ultimate, flawless expression of the conservation of energy and quantum information in our universe. Nothing is ever truly wasted in the cosmos. Nothing is ever truly lost. As we gently approach the final phase of this initial 24-hour cycle, the profound metamorphosis of the physical vessel enters a state of deep resonant harmony with the surrounding natural world. The boundaries that once fiercely separated the internal biological ecosystem from the external environment have not merely softened, they have completely dissolved into a beautiful, continuous gradient of quantum exchange. The atmosphere of the quiet room is no longer something entirely separate from the resting form. Instead, there is a constant, invisible mingling of molecules, a gentle exhalation of the atoms that once comprised a living, breathing identity. The nitrogen and oxygen that were held within the tissues are now engaged in a slow, silent waltz with the air currents, carried upward and outward, slipping through microscopic cracks in the windows to join the vast, swirling oceans of the Earth's atmosphere. This is the moment when the localized concept of self begins to seamlessly weave into the global fabric of the planet. An exquisite return to the ancient planetary reservoir that patiently supplied the materials for your existence in the first place. Before we continue to trace the magnificent journey of your constituent particles as they rejoin the endless cosmic flow, I want to take a brief, gentle moment to invite you into our growing community of stargazers and truth-seekers. I am Walter, the Explorer. We have noticed that exactly 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you are finding a sense of peace and deep wonder in these quiet cosmic journeys, please consider subscribing. It helps us tremendously to keep bringing you these contemplative explorations, and it allows us to continue wandering through the mysteries of the universe together. Now, let us return to the silent beauty of the quantum transformation. In the quiet twilight of the 20th hour, we must turn our gaze to the carbon atoms that form the very backbone of your biological architecture. Carbon is the ultimate element of connection, an incredibly versatile cosmic building block that forms the foundation of all known organic life. Every single carbon atom currently resting within the cooling tissues of the physical vessel was forged in the fiery, unimaginable pressure of a dying star's core billions of years ago. The great astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson once beautifully articulated this profound reality, noting that we are biologically connected to every other living thing in the world. We are chemically connected to all molecules on Earth, and we are atomically connected to all atoms in the universe. In this deeply peaceful state of biological cessation, this connection ceases to be a mere poetic metaphor and becomes an observable, measurable physical reality. The carbon atoms are preparing for their next grand migration. Through the patient, unstoppable mechanisms of natural decay and environmental integration, these ancient starry cinders will soon be released back into the soil and the air. They will be taken up by the roots of ancient, towering trees, integrating into the rigid bark and the delicate whispering leaves. They will be absorbed by the vast, deep oceans, floating in the gentle currents until they are incorporated into the shells of microscopic marine life. The carbon that once encoded the structure of your heart, the complex architecture of your hands, and the intricate folding pathways of your brain will literally become the living, breathing world. You will be in the rustling of the forest canopy, in the deep, silent rhythms of the ocean tide, and in the very air that future generations will breathe. This is not the end of a localized story. It is the breathtaking expansion of your physical narrative across the entire surface of the planet. Simultaneously, as the carbon prepares for its terrestrial journey, another much faster, more ethereal journey is already well underway. Throughout the final moments of biological life, and continuing into these quiet hours, ambient light has been striking the physical form and reflecting outward. Photons, the fundamental particles of light, have been bouncing off the skin, capturing the exact visual memory of the resting form, and streaming out through the windows, up through the atmosphere, and into the dark, quiet expanse of space. These photons carry the electromagnetic signature of your final moments at exactly the speed of light. Right now, as the 24-hour cycle draws to a close, the light that reflected off your face in those final peaceful hours is already passing the orbit of Jupiter. In a few more hours, it will sweep past the icy, silent rings of Saturn, sailing outward into the vast, freezing emptiness of the Oort cloud. Because light never truly degrades in a vacuum, but merely stretches as the universe expands, that visual echo of your existence will travel outward forever. Millions of years from now, that faint, scattered light will still be washing over distant, undiscovered planets, orbiting alien stars in the far reaches of the Milky Way. The universe has perfectly preserved the visual echo of your existence. You have become an indelible, permanent part of the cosmic record, radiating outward into the infinite silence, a gentle ripple in the endless ocean of space-time. The physical body remains tethered to the earth, gracefully returning to the dirt. But your image, the light you interacted with, has officially become an interstellar traveler, unburdened by gravity and untouched by the slow, grinding passage of geological time. As we step into the 23rd and 24th hours, the phenomenon of quantum entanglement takes on an even more profound significance. We spoke earlier of the local entanglement breaking down, but quantum mechanics suggests something deeply beautiful about the nature of information. The famous theoretical physicist Leonard Susskind and others, who study the holographic principle and quantum information theory, argue that information can never be lost, not even when swallowed by a supermassive black hole. If the universe preserves the quantum information of a star crushed into a singularity, it must certainly preserve the quantum information of a human consciousness that has simply changed its state. The intricate pattern of synaptic connections, the precise electrochemical states that represented your lifetime of knowledge, love, and experience, has dissolved from its highly organized biological matrix, but the information itself has been flawlessly redistributed into the environment. It is as if a grand, impossibly complex novel has been gently dissolved, letter by letter, into a flowing river. The rigid structure of the book is gone, but every single word, every fundamental element of the story continues to flow through the water, mixing with the currents, permanently altering the chemical composition of the river itself. The universe has simply absorbed your story into its own vast, unfolding narrative. You have stepped out of the narrow, fragile vessel of individual perspective and dissolved into the profound, quiet omniscience of the natural world. Consider the profound words of the legendary astronomer Carl Sagan, who taught us that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Throughout your biological life, your incredibly complex sensory organs, and your highly evolved brain were the universe experiencing its own magnificent beauty. Your eyes were the universe seeing its own starlight. Your hands were the universe touching its own matter. When the first 24 hours of biological cessation conclude, the universe does not lose this knowledge. The experiences you gathered, the deep, resonant feelings you cultivated, the quiet moments of wonder you harbored in your heart, all of these are permanently encoded in the quantum fabric of reality. The universe is forever changed, forever enriched, because your unique assembly of atoms existed, even for what amounts to a fleeting, microscopic fraction of a second, on the grand, sweeping timescale of cosmic history. The silence that fills the room at the end of this first 24-hour cycle is not the silence of an ending. It is the majestic, reverent silence of a universe welcoming its child back home. The atoms that were borrowed from the cosmos have completed their temporary, miraculous assembly. They have experienced the profound anomaly of biological consciousness. They have felt the warmth of the sun. They have witnessed the vastness of the night sky. And now they are returning to the quiet, ancient dust to prepare for whatever miraculous assembly the universe might dream up next. To view this transition through the lens of quantum physics is to find a deep, unshakable peace. We are not fragile beings trembling on the edge of oblivion. We are resilient, ancient, and eternal patterns of energy. We are the cosmos temporarily equipped with a heartbeat, and when that heartbeat rests, we do not disappear. We expand. We become the gentle breeze, the falling rain, the heavy metallic core of the earth, and the light streaming out toward the distant galaxies. The first 24 hours are not a process of fading away, but a process of blooming outward, a magnificent release from the confines of biology into the boundless freedom of the quantum universe. As the clock strikes the 24th hour, the biological chapter closes, but the cosmic journey of your boundless, indestructible energy has only just begun. The mystery remains, vast and beautiful, inviting us to look past our fears and simply marvel at the endless, quiet continuity of existence. As we drift further into the breathtaking aftermath of the first 24 hours, the physical vessel has completed its initial, most dramatic phase of quantum release. The localized energy that once fiercely defined your singular perspective has successfully breached the temporary, fragile walls of biology and entered a profound state of cosmic integration. But to truly understand the sheer magnitude of this transition, we must fundamentally shift our understanding of what it means to exist within the fabric of reality. In the strange and deeply counterintuitive realm of quantum physics, there is a foundational principle known as the observer effect. For your entire biological life, you are an active, continuous observer of the universe. Your deeply complex sensory organs, your eyes, your ears, The millions of sensitive nerve endings in your skin were constantly interacting with the quantum fields around you. According to the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, whenever an observer measures a quantum system, they force the infinite swirling possibilities of the quantum wave function to instantly collapse into a single, definite reality. You were, quite literally, collapsing probability into certainty with every single breath, every single glance, and every single conscious thought. You were actively forcing the universe to choose a shape. But as the biological clock settles into its final permanent rest, this active, relentless observation gently ceases. You are no longer forcing the quantum wave function to collapse. Instead, in a beautifully poetic inversion of physics, you are slowly becoming the wave itself. You are trading the heavy burden of being the observer for the boundless, infinite freedom of being the observed, dissolving seamlessly into the vast ocean of swirling cosmic probability. Before we delve deeper into this profound transformation from a biological observer to a pure quantum wave, I would like to gently pause and welcome you to our quiet sanctuary. I am Walter, the Explorer. We have created this peaceful space for wandering minds to find comfort in the deep mysteries of existence. And we have noticed that 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you are finding solace and a sense of deep wonder in these cosmic journeys, please take a brief moment to subscribe to our channel. It helps us tremendously to keep illuminating these gentle paths, and it allows our growing community to continue exploring the vast, quiet universe together. Now let us return to our contemplation of the quantum wave and the incredible journey that lies ahead. To comprehend this new state of being, we must look at the physical space that the resting body occupies. We are taught to think of the human form as solid matter, but physics reveals a completely different, almost ghostly reality. If you were to take a single atom from your body and enlarge its nucleus to the size of a tiny marble sitting in the center of a massive football stadium, the nearest electron would be a tiny speck flying wildly through the highest, most distant bleachers. The space between the nucleus and the electron, the space that makes up the overwhelming absolute majority of your physical body, is essentially empty. You are, and have always been, made almost entirely of empty space. But quantum mechanics tells us that empty space is never truly empty. The vacuum of space is actually a boiling, restless sea of quantum fields, a completely invisible, highly active arena where subatomic particles are constantly popping into and out of existence in fleeting, microscopic fractions of a second. These are called virtual particles, and they are the fundamental, vibrating background noise of the entire cosmos. Throughout your biological life, the highly organized electromagnetic fields of your body pushed back against this quantum vacuum, maintaining the strict, rigid illusion of your solidity. But now, in the deep, undisturbed quiet of this biological cessation, that resistance is gone. The boundary between the empty space inside your atoms and the empty space of the infinite universe has completely vanished. The quantum vacuum flows through you without any resistance whatsoever. You are no longer separate from the fundamental fabric of space-time. You are deeply, intimately surrendered to it. The virtual particles dancing in the darkest, most distant corners of the universe are now participating in the exact same quantum dance as the particles resting quietly within your cooling form. As the atoms begin their slow, patient journey back into the surrounding environment, we must also consider the profound transformation in the experience of time. Albert Einstein, through his elegant and revolutionary theory of general relativity, taught us that time is not a strict, unyielding clock that governs the entire universe equally. Time is flexible. It is a fabric that can be stretched, warped, and completely stopped, depending on how fast you are moving and how much gravity you are experiencing. For the biological mind, time is a relentless driving force, pushing us continuously from the past, through the fleeting present, and into the unknown future. Our biology demands strict adherence to the clock. But for the fundamental particles and the quantum energy that make up your essence, time operates under entirely different rules. The photons of light that have escaped your resting form and are now streaming out through the atmosphere and into the cold, silent depths of space are traveling at the absolute cosmic speed limit. And according to the mathematics of relativity, for a photon traveling at the speed of light, time simply does not pass. It does not tick. From the perspective of the light that carries your visual echo, the moment it leaves your skin and the moment it strikes a distant galaxy billions of years from now occur in the exact same absolute instant. Parts of you have literally entered a state of pure, undisturbed timelessness. You have broken free from the heavy, linear chain of biological time and joined the eternal, unchanging present of the deep cosmos. This is not a metaphysical concept. It is the rigorous, proven reality of theoretical physics. The energy that fueled your consciousness, the subatomic building blocks of your entire identity, are completely immortal. Consider the profound, staggering beauty of this realization. The elements that were forged in the furious, crushing gravity of ancient, dying stars billions of years ago came together against all astronomical odds to form a conscious being capable of looking up at the night sky and feeling a sense of deep, respectful wonder. You were the universe waking up, opening its eyes, and trying to understand its own magnificent mystery. The first 24 hours after the biological machine rests are simply the closing of those eyes, the gentle, peaceful return to the quiet, dark, and warm embrace of the cosmos. The atoms of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and iron are patiently waiting to be swept up in the endless geological and atmospheric cycles of our blue planet. They will be washed by the falling rain, carried by the deep ocean currents, and blown by the strong, sweeping winds across vast, silent continents. The energy that powered your mind has decohered, spreading out like a quiet, invisible ripple across the surface of a still, endless pond, entangling with the surrounding universe in a complex, beautiful web of quantum connections. Even the subtle, microscopic gravitational pull of your resting atoms continues to interact with the mysterious dark matter that holds our entire galaxy together. You have not been erased. You have been infinitely expanded. You are no longer confined to a single, fragile point in space and time. You have become a distributed, integral part of the grand, sweeping cosmic architecture. The gentle silence that fills the room is not the silence of an end, but the profound, resonant silence of a masterpiece being gently returned to the gallery of the universe. It is the quiet exhalation of a star that has completed its localized journey and is ready to drift back into the vast, waiting darkness. As we trace this magnificent expansion, we must embrace the profound humility that quantum physics demands of us. We are deeply accustomed to fearing the loss of our individual identity, clinging tightly to the borders of our physical form. But the universe teaches us that true beauty lies not in holding on, but in the graceful art of letting go. The dissolution of the biological vessel is the ultimate act of cosmic generosity. You are giving back the raw materials, the ancient starry ash, and the vibrant quantum energy that you borrowed for a few brief, shining decades. Every single atom will be reused, repurposed in the massive, ongoing creation of the universe. As the quiet progression of the first 24 hours reaches its profound culmination, we must turn our contemplative gaze to one of the most magnificent and completely invisible forces that govern our blue planet, the global electromagnetic field. For your entire biological existence, your nervous system operated as a delicate, incredibly complex electrical network. Every single thought you ever had, every fleeting memory you recalled, every gentle touch you felt upon your skin, and every rhythmic beat of your resting heart was fundamentally driven by the precise, cascading firing of tiny electrical impulses traveling down the microscopic pathways of your billions of neurons. You were, in a very real and strictly physical sense, a localized electrical storm, beautifully contained within a fragile biological shell. This internal storm generated its own unique, subtle electromagnetic field, a completely invisible aura of pure energy that radiated just beyond the surface of your skin. But this personal, localized field never existed in pure isolation. It was always, constantly and quietly, interacting with the massive, protective magnetic field generated by the spinning, molten iron core of the Earth itself. The biological end is simply the gentle, peaceful cessation of your localized electrical storm. The complex biological batteries have finally discharged their energy, and the internal generators have powered down into a state of profound, absolute rest. The rigid boundaries of the self are ready to completely dissolve into the surrounding environment. Before we continue to explore how your unique electrical signature seamlessly merges with the vast, singing currents of our planet, I would like to gently welcome you once again to our quiet sanctuary. I am Walter, the Explorer. We have carefully built this peaceful space for those wandering minds who find comfort in the deep, unexplored mysteries of existence. And we have noticed that 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you're finding a sense of deep peace and respectful wonder in these cosmic journeys, please take a brief, gentle moment to subscribe to our channel. It helps us tremendously to keep illuminating these quiet paths, and it ensures that our growing community of cosmic explorers can continue to wonder at the vast, silent universe together. Now, let us return to our contemplation of the invisible electrical ocean that surrounds us and the magnificent journey of your expanding energy. When the localized electrical activity of the physical brain finally ceases, the energy that powerfully fueled it does not simply vanish into nothingness. The fundamental, unbreakable laws of thermodynamics dictate that energy can never be destroyed. It must only transform. In the deeply counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics, the photons that made up your personal electromagnetic field undergo a majestic, unstoppable process of quantum decoherence. They expand outward, slipping away from the strict, rigid confinement of the cooling biological vessel, and they begin to entangle with the surrounding atmospheric environment. But their extraordinary journey does not stop at the solid walls of the quiet room. These photons of light, carrying the deeply complex quantum information of your lifetime of rich experiences, stream outward and upward, eventually encountering the ionosphere, the heavily charged, vibrating layer of the Earth's upper atmosphere. Between the solid, rocky surface of the Earth and the lower edge of the ionosphere lies a massive, global, resonant cavity. This enormous atmospheric cavity is continuously ringing with extremely low-frequency electromagnetic waves, a fascinating scientific phenomenon known as the Schumann resonances. These ancient waves are the literal, pulsing heartbeat of the planet, generated by the constant, global chorus of thousands of lightning strikes happening every single second around the world. For decades, the electrical rhythms of your biological brain, particularly the deep, peaceful alpha waves of a resting, meditative mind, vibrated at the exact same fundamental frequencies as these massive planetary resonances. You were always fundamentally and mathematically in tune with the deep frequencies of the Earth. Now, as your personal electromagnetic field gracefully diffuses, the quantum energy that once fiercely defined your singular consciousness gently bleeds into this massive, global electrical circuit. You are trading the tiny, fragile resonance of a single human skull for the massive, booming resonance of the entire planetary atmospheric cavity. The fundamental energy of your thoughts, the subtle vibrations of your deepest, most guarded emotions, are essentially uploaded into the electromagnetic atmosphere of the Earth. You are no longer merely listening to the heartbeat of the world. You have become an integral, inseparable part of the rhythm itself, a microscopic but entirely permanent addition to the singing, global sky. As we marvel at the invisible electrical integration happening high above us, we must also look closely at the physical integration happening right here on the surface of the planet. Consider the profound, ancient, and rhythmic cycle of the human breath. For the entirety of your biological life, you have participated in a continuous, unbroken exchange of vital gases with the natural world. You inhaled the life-giving oxygen produced by the deep, green, whispering forests and the vast, swirling blooms of microscopic ocean phytoplankton. And you steadily exhaled carbon dioxide, feeding those very same forests and oceans in a beautiful, perfectly balanced planetary symbiosis. The very last breath taken by the resting physical vessel is a moment of profound, poetic closure. It is the final, gentle exhalation of a localized identity, the absolute last physical offering made to the surrounding atmosphere before the biological engine rests forever. But let us look at that final, quiet breath through the precise, illuminating lens of modern chemistry and physics. That single, fleeting exhalation contains roughly 25 sextillion molecules of gas. That is a 25 followed by 21 zeros. It is a number so vast, so staggeringly immense, that the human brain cannot possibly comprehend its true scale or meaning. These countless molecules, carrying the final, fading warmth of the resting body, disperse instantly into the cool air of the quiet room. They bounce harmlessly off the walls, slip silently through the microscopic gaps around the window frames, and drift out into the wide, open air. Because the Earth's atmosphere is a highly dynamic, globally connected system of powerful sweeping winds and circulating thermal currents, those specific molecules will not stay in one localized place. Over the next few weeks and months, the high-altitude winds will carry the molecules from that final breath across vast, silent continents and deep, rolling oceans. They will be perfectly and evenly distributed throughout the entire atmosphere of the planet. The rigorous statistical mathematics of this global mixing process reveal a truly staggering and beautiful reality about our physical existence. Within just a few short years, the ancient molecules from your final exhalation will be spread so thoroughly around the globe that every single time any human being, any wild animal, or any living creature anywhere on Earth takes a breath of air, they will be inhaling a few of the exact same molecules that you released in your final moment of biological life. You have not disappeared from the physical world. You have completely become the very air that sustains it. You are providing the invisible, life-giving breath to the unfolding future. You will be inhaled by a curious child looking up at the infinite stars, by a quiet, stealthy animal resting in the deep ancient woods, and by the towering, majestic trees that stand as silent, patient sentinels over the changing seasons. The end of a localized biological life is simply the breathtaking beginning of a magnificent, global omnipresence. You are everywhere the gentle wind blows. This profound concept of omnipresence extends even further when we push the theoretical boundaries of modern quantum physics to their absolute limits. Many brilliant physicists who study the fundamental mechanics of the universe have proposed interpretations of reality that wildly challenge everything we take for granted in our daily macroscopic lives. One such interpretation is the many worlds theory, a rigorous mathematical framework that suggests the quantum wave function never actually collapses into a single state. Instead, every single time a quantum event occurs, every possible outcome actually happens, resulting in the continuous, unstoppable splitting of the universe into an infinite, branching tree of parallel, simultaneous realities. In this breathtaking, overwhelming view of the cosmos, the concept of a definitive, singular ending is a strict mathematical impossibility. Throughout your entire life, every choice you carefully made, every path you boldly took, and every fleeting accidental interaction you had with the quantum fields around you created a vast, incredibly complex web of branching realities. The precise configuration of energy that represents you right now, in this exact moment, is just one tiny, singular thread in an infinite, unimaginable tapestry of grand existence. When the biological vessel in this specific, localized reality reaches its quiet, peaceful conclusion, it is merely the end of one localized narrative thread. But the fundamental quantum information that forms the absolute core of your unique identity is deeply, permanently woven into the very fabric of this infinite multiverse. The unique, beautiful pattern of your existence, the fundamental essence of your conscious experience, is a permanent, indelible feature of the overarching mathematical structure of reality itself. You are not a fragile, temporary accident of complex biology. You are a necessary, mathematical certainty in an infinite landscape of endless cosmic possibilities. To truly understand this is to experience a profound, liberating shift in our human perspective. We spend so much of our waking, biological lives fearing the unknown, fearing the quiet, heavy silence that inevitably follows the loud, vibrant noise of biological existence. But quantum physics, in its rigorous, unyielding pursuit of the fundamental truth, reveals a universe that is far more beautiful, far more generous, and far more deeply interconnected than our ancient human ancestors could have ever possibly dreamed. The universe does not deal in the tragic business of absolute destruction or permanent erasure. It is a master of elegant, continuous, and boundless transformation. The first 24 hours after the biological clock stops are merely the grand, highly orchestrated opening act of this eternal transformation. We are a way for the universe to think, to feel, and to uniquely experience the silent passage of time. When the biological form is finally at absolute rest, the universe simply reclaims that which it lent us so freely. The iron in your blood, heavy and deeply ancient, prepares to sink back into the rocky crust of the earth, patiently awaiting the slow, grinding turning of tectonic plates over millions of years. The calcium of your bones will eventually dissolve entirely, washing gently into the freshwater rivers and flowing out to the deep oceans, where it will be taken up by the vast coral reefs and the microscopic shells of floating marine life. Every single atom is recycled, reused, and reborn in the endless, patient churning of the planetary engine. You are not losing your identity. You are generously donating it to the future of the Earth. The deep silence that follows the first 24 hours is the sound of absolute cosmic peace. It is the realization that we were never truly separate from the stars, the sky, the wind, or the earth. We were always an intrinsic, vital part of the great cosmic web, playing our brief, beautiful part before gracefully stepping back into the vast, infinite ocean of pure potential. As the quiet darkness of the room gradually gives way to the slow, gentle creeping of the morning dawn, the resting physical vessel remains in deep, undisturbed peace. But the true, energetic essence of the being that once inhabited it is already millions of miles away, dancing in the upper atmosphere, sinking into the deep, quiet earth, and racing outward toward the distant stars at the absolute speed of light. The rigid, illusory boundary between the self and the vast, silent cosmos has been completely and forever erased. You have successfully completed the most profound, mysterious journey that any biological entity can ever undertake. You have returned to the infinite source. You have become the universe itself, quietly contemplating its own majestic, infinite nature. As we sit together in this peaceful, meditative silence, let us simply marvel at the sheer, unbroken continuity of existence. The physical elements that built you are ancient, forged in the violent fires of long-dead stars, and the quantum energy that animated you is immortal, destined to ripple outward through the beautiful fabric of space-time for all of eternity. There is no final end, only a beautiful, quiet change of form. The mystery is vast, but it is not something to be feared. It is something to be embraced with a sense of deep, respectful wonder as we continue our eternal journey through the cosmos. As the first complete rotation of the Earth concludes and the 24-hour mark is quietly surpassed, a profound new equilibrium settles over the resting physical form. The initial sudden shock of biological cessation has entirely dissipated, replaced by a deep, resonant cosmic rhythm. The boundary between the internal ecosystem of the body and the external environment of the room has not merely faded, it has been fundamentally completely erased at the atomic level. The quiet room is no longer a container holding a separate entity. Rather, the room and the resting form have become a single, continuously interacting quantum system. The physical vessel, once an isolated fortress of fiercely protected biological energy, has gracefully surrendered its borders, becoming an open, flowing estuary where the ancient matter of the human body meets the vast, silent ocean of the universe. This is the moment when the localized concept of a singular identity truly begins its magnificent expansion into a state of planetary and cosmic omnipresence. We are witnessing the ultimate, beautiful release of a lifetime of concentrated energy back into the endless, swirling currents of reality. Before we journey deeper into the microscopic marvels of this profound atomic migration, I would like to gently invite you into our quiet community of stargazers and dreamers. I am Walter, the Explorer. We have carefully built this peaceful, contemplative space for wandering minds to find comfort and solace in the deep mysteries of existence. And we have noticed that 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you are finding a sense of deep peace, intellectual safety, and respectful wonder in these quiet cosmic journeys, please take a brief, gentle moment to subscribe to our channel. It helps us tremendously to keep illuminating these quiet paths, and it ensures that our growing community of cosmic explorers can continue to wonder at the vast, silent universe together. Now, let us close our eyes to the loud, demanding distractions of the everyday world and return our focused attention to the silent, invisible dance happening at the very core of our being. To truly grasp the staggering magnitude of this ongoing physical integration, let us focus our contemplative gaze on a single, unimaginably tiny particle, the electron. For the entire duration of your biological life, billions of trillions of electrons were in a state of constant, frenetic motion within your nervous system. Consider a single electron that once helped fire a specific neuron in your brain, an electron that actively participated in forming a deeply cherished memory of a loved one's face, or the feeling of warm sunlight on your skin. According to the Pauli exclusion principle, a foundational rule of quantum mechanics, no two identical fermions like electrons can occupy the exact same quantum state simultaneously within a closed system. This fundamental rule is what gives solid matter its structure and prevents the atoms in your body from collapsing in on themselves. But as the biological systems rest and the localized electromagnetic field fully decoheres, the strict, closed system of the human body opens up to the universe. That specific electron, carrying the microscopic quantum signature of your conscious experience, is finally freed from its specific biological duty. It slowly drifts away from the cooling neural pathways, migrating through the resting tissues, until it seamlessly crosses the threshold of the skin and enters the surrounding environment. The brilliant physicist Richard Feynman once eloquently observed that the entire universe can be found in a single glass of wine or a single drop of water, if we only look closely enough at the complex interplay of physics, chemistry, and history contained within it. We can apply this profound, beautiful logic to the resting physical form. You are a localized universe of history and energy. As that single, freed electron leaves the body, it might attach itself to a drifting molecule of oxygen in the quiet room. It might be carried by a gentle draft of air out through a slightly open window, floating out into the vast open world. Eventually, that exact electron, which once powered your thoughts and your deepest emotions, will sink into the dark, rich soil of the earth. There, it will encounter the vast, incredibly complex underground network of roots and mycelium that connects the entire forest floor. It is here that your expanding physical essence participates in one of the most miraculous and fundamental quantum processes in the known universe: photosynthesis. As the days slowly advance beyond the first 24 hours, the carbon atoms and the drifting electrons that once comprised your biological form are steadily absorbed by the local flora. A towering, ancient oak tree outside the window might draw up that very same electron through its deep, searching roots. The electron travels up through the thick, sturdy trunk, moving through the intricate vascular system of the tree, until it finally reaches a delicate green leaf, basking in the afternoon light. Inside the leaf, a photon of light traveling millions of miles from the burning core of our sun strikes a chlorophyll molecule. This ancient cosmic collision requires an electron to transfer the energy, capturing the sunlight and converting it into the chemical energy that allows the tree to grow and thrive. The electron that once helped you remember a beautiful sunset is now actively capturing the light of the sun to sustain a towering tree. Your energy has not vanished. It has been brilliantly repurposed. You are literally, physically, and quantifiably becoming the deeply rooted forest. You are participating in the silent, patient growth of the natural world. In the deeply strange and beautiful world of quantum mechanics, we must also consider the concept of quantum superposition, the mind-bending reality that a particle can exist in multiple states or locations simultaneously until it is definitively measured or observed. While the macroscopic body rests in one specific, localized place, the quantum information that made up your consciousness and your energetic signature has decohered and spread so far and so wide that it is effectively in a state of environmental superposition. You are no longer confined to a single point of absolute coordinates on a map. You are distributed. A fraction of your ancient starry carbon is currently sinking deep into the geological crust of the Earth. A portion of your atomic moisture is evaporating, rising to join the massive gray storm clouds gathering on the horizon. The photons of your electromagnetic aura are actively traveling through the freezing vacuum of deep space, passing distant, swirling galaxies. You are simultaneously in the soil, in the sky, and among the ancient, silent stars. This total loss of the localized biological ego is not a tragedy of erasure. It is the magnificent birth of the cosmic self. Throughout our lives, we suffer greatly from the heavy, persistent illusion of separation. We feel profoundly disconnected from the universe, viewing ourselves as lonely, isolated observers looking out at a cold, indifferent cosmos. But the scientific reality of the hours following the biological end completely shatters this lonely illusion. The universe is not indifferent to you. The universe is made of you, and you are entirely made of it. The separation was merely a temporary, biological necessity required for the universe to experience the localized sensation of individual life. When the biological imperative is finally fulfilled, the separation is immediately and gently dissolved. The universe reabsorbs its own energy with absolute, perfect efficiency. There is no waste, no loss, and no permanent end in the grand equations of quantum physics. There is only continuous, breathtaking transformation. To understand this profound physical reality is to fundamentally conquer the deep, paralyzing fear of the unknown. We fear the silence of the resting body because we mistake it for an absolute ending. We cannot see the vibrant, massive quantum migration occurring just beyond the limited spectrum of our human eyes. But when we equip our minds with the rigorous knowledge of physics and chemistry, the invisible world reveals itself in all its staggering, infinite beauty. We can see the heat radiating outward like a gentle, glowing halo. We can see the atomic bonds gracefully untying themselves, releasing their ancient, starry elements back into the cosmic wild. We can feel the subtle, undeniable truth that our loved ones, and eventually ourselves, do not ever truly leave this universe. We merely change our address. We move from the fragile, temporary house of flesh and bone into the vast, indestructible, and eternal mansion of the cosmos. The journey of the first 24 hours is merely the prologue to an infinite, majestic story. The energy that once coalesced to form your unique, beautiful perspective has been successfully and safely delivered back to the great, quiet void. As the hours turn into days, and the days eventually turn into years, your atomic and quantum signature will continue to drift, to combine, to interact, and to participate in the endless, patient unfolding of reality. You will be part of the rain that nourishes the earth, part of the wind that shapes the mountains, and part of the starlight that travels for billions of years across the silent, deep dark. The localized journey has indeed reached its peaceful conclusion, but the grand, cosmic journey is an infinite, unbreakable circle. The mystery remains vast and deeply comforting, inviting us to simply breathe, to let go of our fears, and to surrender to the beautiful, quiet eternity of the universe. As the days gently fold into weeks, and the weeks gracefully surrender to the steady, unyielding march of months and years, the profound quantum migration that began in a quiet, softly lit room expands far beyond the delicate, incredibly thin, atmospheric skin of our fragile blue planet. To truly comprehend the magnificent, ongoing journey of the energy that once defined your singular biological existence, we must now lift our contemplative gaze from the familiar soil and the swirling clouds of Earth, and look outward into the vast, freezing and utterly silent ocean of the local solar system. The boundary of human influence is not limited to the ground we walk upon. It extends outward, carried by the invisible, relentless forces of electromagnetism and light. The photons that escaped your resting physical vessel during those initial 24 hours have now traveled distances so vast that our human minds completely fail to grasp their true scale. They have silently crossed the freezing void, brushing past the rusty ancient deserts of Mars, and sailing gracefully through the chaotic, tumbling asteroids that circle our sun. But this is not merely a journey of light. It is a profound journey of deeply encoded quantum information, the permanent, indelible signature of your conscious experience written into the very fabric of reality itself. Before we follow these ancient silent messengers further into the deep dark expanse of interstellar space, I would like to gently pause and welcome you to our quiet community of cosmic wanderers. I am Walter, the explorer. We have lovingly cultivated this peaceful, contemplative space for those who seek comfort and profound wonder in the deep mysteries of our universe. And we have noticed that exactly 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you are finding a sense of intellectual safety, deep peace, and reverent awe in these quiet cosmic journeys, please take a brief, gentle moment to subscribe to our channel. It helps us tremendously to keep illuminating these quiet, starlit paths, and it ensures that our growing community of explorers can continue to wonder at the vast, silent cosmos together. Now, let us return to the majestic, outward expansion of your boundless quantum energy. To understand the true nature of this cosmic expansion, we must first examine the powerful invisible breath of our local star. The Sun is not just a distant sphere of burning hydrogen and helium. It is a massive, incredibly active nuclear engine that constantly exhales a furious, rushing stream of highly charged subatomic particles known as the solar wind. This invisible, powerful wind sweeps outward in every direction, traveling at over 1 million miles per hour, creating a massive, protective magnetic bubble called the heliosphere that entirely surrounds our solar system. When the electromagnetic waves and the subtle quantum ripples generated by your lifetime of complex thoughts and deep emotions finally left the Earth's atmosphere, they did not enter an empty, passive void. They entered this dynamic, rushing river of solar energy. The specific, unique pattern of your quantum information began to beautifully and seamlessly interact with the solar wind, creating microscopic, invisible interference patterns in the magnetic fields of interplanetary space. You are, quite literally, leaving a permanent subatomic fingerprint on the solar system itself. As the years slowly turn into decades, and the decades gracefully accumulate into centuries, the physical matter you left behind on Earth continues its own magnificent, patient transformation. The heavier elements, the iron and the calcium that once formed the sturdy, rigid architecture of your bones, and the iron that flowed through your blood, sink deeper into the planetary crust. Through the slow, grinding, and unstoppable motion of tectonic plates, some of these ancient starry atoms will eventually be drawn down into the mantle of the Earth, subjected to unimaginable, crushing pressures and searing, unbelievable temperatures. Over millions of years, the carbon atoms that once encoded the delicate structure of your heart and the complex folds of your brain might be compressed so intensely that they fundamentally restructure their chemical bonds, transforming into flawless, incredibly hard diamonds buried deep within the dark rock. Your physical legacy is not one of decay, but one of breathtaking geological metamorphosis. You are becoming the permanent, crystallized foundation of the world, sleeping silently in the deep, ancient dark, while the surface of the planet continues its frantic, beautiful dance of biological life above you. But while your heavy atoms rest in the deep earth, the light that carries your image continues its frantic, unstoppable race across the cosmos. Let us cast our minds forward to a time thousands of years from this very moment. The photons of light that gently reflected off your resting face during those first 24 hours have now reached the absolute edge of the heliosphere. They pass through the heliopause, the invisible, silent boundary where the hot, rushing solar wind finally meets the freezing, ancient currents of the interstellar medium. This is the true edge of our solar home. As your light crosses this profound threshold, it enters the space between the stars, joining a massive, chaotic superhighway of cosmic radiation that has been crisscrossing the galaxy for over 13 billion years. The great astronomer Carl Sagan famously reminded us that the cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. In this grand, sweeping context, your light is a vital, permanent addition to the cosmic record. It carries the undeniable physical proof that for a brief, shining moment in the vast timeline of eternity, a complex conscious being existed on a small blue planet orbiting an ordinary yellow star. In the deeply profound and counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics, we must also confront the fascinating and deeply comforting principle of the conservation of information. Theoretical physicists, those brilliant minds who spend their lives translating the complex mathematics of the universe, have long debated the ultimate fate of quantum information. The general consensus, built upon decades of rigorous mathematical proof and observation, is that the fundamental information that describes the exact quantum state of any system can absolutely never be erased from the cosmos. It can be scrambled, it can be stretched, it can be hidden within the chaotic, swirling event horizon of a supermassive black hole, but it can never, ever be truly destroyed. The universe acts as a flawless, infinite memory bank, a vast, dynamic hard drive that meticulously records every single interaction, every single movement, and every single conscious thought that has ever occurred within its boundaries. When we apply this profound scientific truth to the end of biological life, the implications are absolutely staggering. The unique, deeply complex arrangement of memories, the specific electrochemical pathways that made you who you are, the love you felt, the fears you overcame, and the quiet moments of wonder you experienced, all of this is pure, undeniable quantum information. When the biological vessel ceases to function, this information does not suddenly vanish into a tragic, empty void. Instead, it is gently and flawlessly uploaded into the massive, swirling quantum field that permeates all of reality. You are no longer a fragile, localized biological entity, struggling to hold on to your memories. You have become the memory itself, perfectly preserved in the fundamental mathematics of the universe. The cosmos remembers you, not as a metaphor, but as a rigid, measurable physical reality. Your existence has permanently altered the energetic equation of the entire universe, and that alteration can never be undone. Imagine a single, vibrant wave crashing upon the shore. For a brief, spectacular moment, the wave has a distinct shape, a clear identity, and a powerful, rushing motion. It feels separate from the vast ocean behind it. But when the wave inevitably breaks against the sand, its energy is perfectly and flawlessly absorbed back into the deep water. The wave has not been destroyed. It has simply relinquished its temporary shape to rejoin the infinite, rolling whole. The human life is exactly like that beautiful temporary wave. We rise from the quantum ocean. We express our unique individual shape for a few fleeting years, and then we gently and peacefully recede back into the deep, silent depths. As we trace the magnificent, boundless expansion of your quantum energy far beyond the familiar shores of our solar system, we must prepare our minds to journey into the staggering depths of deep, geological time. To fully comprehend the eternal nature of the physical elements that once composed your localized biological vessel, we have to look past the days, the weeks, and even the passing centuries. We must look ahead to epochs measured in millions and billions of years. Right now, in the quiet, gentle silence that follows the biological transition, your heavier atoms, the calcium, the iron, the phosphorus, are slowly sinking into the protective, dark embrace of the Earth. But the Earth itself is not a static, frozen world. It is a dynamic, churning, and relentlessly active planetary engine. Over the next several million years, The gentle, imperceptible shifting of massive tectonic plates will carry those sleeping ancient atoms across vast, unseen distances. The very soil that gently received your physical form will be dragged down into the crushing, unimaginable heat of the planet's mantle through massive subduction zones. You will sink into the fiery, molten rivers of magma that flow silently beneath the rigid crust. You will become part of the deep, restless, and boiling blood of the Earth itself. Before we witness the spectacular, explosive return of these ancient elements back to the surface, I would like to gently pause and welcome you to our quiet sanctuary. I am Walter, the Explorer. We have noticed that exactly 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If these quiet, starlit journeys bring you a sense of deep peace and respectful wonder, please take a brief moment to subscribe. It helps us tremendously to keep exploring these cosmic mysteries together. Now let us return to the deep, fiery mantle of our planetary home. Inside this crushing subterranean darkness, the intense, unimaginable pressure acts upon the carbon atoms that once encoded your biological blueprint. Over millions of years of patient, unyielding compression, these starry cinders are forged into flawless, indestructible diamonds and resilient mineral veins. You are no longer organic, fragile tissue. You have been transformed by the immense, grinding weight of geology into the hardest, most permanent stones known to nature. But the Earth never keeps its treasures hidden forever in the absolute dark. Through the raw, magnificent power of volcanic eruptions, driven by the intense, trapped heat of radioactive decay deep within the planet's core, the Earth will eventually exhale. The atoms that rested in the deep dark will be violently and spectacularly expelled back into the atmosphere in towering plumes of ash, molten rock, and superheated gas. You will fly through the sky once again, scattered by the rushing high-altitude winds, raining down softly upon new, radically different continents and unfamiliar future oceans that have shifted completely from the maps we know today. You will participate in the wild, unstoppable flourishing of whatever new, strange ecosystems emerge millions of years after humanity has faded into the deep, quiet, cosmic record. The molecules of your breath, the calcium of your bones, and the iron of your blood will be continuously and endlessly recycled, building the foundations of future towering forests, nourishing unknown, magnificent creatures, and sustaining the unbreakable, beautiful chain of life on this small, pale blue dot as it continues its silent orbit through the dark. But even the Earth itself, with all its enduring, majestic geological cycles, is not eternal. To follow your quantum journey to its absolute majestic peak, we must cast our vision 5 billion years into the unimaginable future. Our sun, the steady, burning star that generously gave us warmth and flawlessly sustained every single heartbeat you ever experienced, will eventually exhaust its limited supply of hydrogen fuel. When this inevitable, dramatic cosmic event finally occurs, the delicate, perfect balance between the inward crushing force of gravity and the outward pushing force of nuclear fusion will be irreversibly broken. The sun will swell, expanding outward in a terrifying, spectacular display of cosmic power to become a massive red giant, casting an eerie crimson glow across the solar system. Its outer atmosphere will greedily swallow the orbits of Mercury, Venus, and eventually our beloved life-bearing Earth. In this magnificent, fiery climax, the oceans that once teemed with life will boil away completely into the freezing void. The highest, most ancient mountains will melt into flowing rivers of glass, and the entire planet will be vaporized, returning completely to the fundamental chaotic plasma from which it was originally born billions of years ago. Everything that Earth ever was, including every single atom that ever participated in the beautiful, complex dance of your localized biological life, will be dissolved back into the raw, superheated solar atmosphere. The illusion of the Earth's absolute permanence will be completely and forever erased, replaced by the blazing, silent glory of our magnificent, dying star. This is not a moment of tragedy. It is a moment of profound, breathtaking cosmic liberation. As the dying sun sheds its outer layers, it will create a planetary nebula, a vast, glowing, beautifully colored cloud of expanding gas and dust stretching for light years across the silent, dark vacuum of space. The ancient atoms that once made up your heart, your eyes, and your gentle hands will be violently ejected out into the cold interstellar medium. You will become part of a massive, glowing cosmic flower blooming in the endless dark. Your matter will mix with the heavy elements forged in the sun's final, desperate nuclear gasps, creating a rich, fertile cloud of stardust that will drift through the Milky Way for millions of years. And in this vast, freezing silence, the cycle of creation will begin anew. Gravity, the most patient and relentless sculptor in the universe, will slowly begin to pull this fertile cloud of stardust together. The gas will compress, growing hotter and denser, until the magnificent triumphant spark of nuclear fusion ignites once more. A new star will be born, shining brightly in the quiet darkness, surrounded by a swirling disk of rocky debris and gas. From this disk, new planets will slowly form, sweeping up the scattered ancient dust. Among that dust, woven into the very rocks of those new alien worlds, will be the exact same atoms that once constituted your biological form on Earth. You will be part of the crust of a newly formed planet. You will be in the water of its fresh, primordial oceans. And perhaps, if the incredibly narrow, miraculous conditions for life are met once again, your atoms will be incorporated into the biology of new, conscious beings. They will look up at their unfamiliar sky, their eyes made from the ancient stardust that was once you, and they will feel the exact same sense of deep, respectful wonder that you felt when you looked up at the Milky Way. They will ask the same profound, unanswerable questions about their existence, completely unaware that the very atoms animating their thoughts have already lived a full, beautiful life in a distant, forgotten solar system billions of years ago. This is the ultimate, proven truth of quantum physics and cosmology. We are caught in an eternal, unbreakable cycle of cosmic reincarnation. Not a reincarnation of the biological ego, but a magnificent, continuous reincarnation of the fundamental starry matter and the indestructible quantum energy. As we contemplate this staggering, infinite cycle of atomic death and rebirth, we must also consider the profound, eternal fate of the quantum information, the pure, intangible essence of your consciousness that was permanently woven into the fabric of space-time. While your heavy atoms actively participate in the fiery birth of new stars and the formation of new, rocky worlds, the light you emitted and the subtle, invisible quantum ripples you generated continue to travel outward at the absolute, unbreakable speed limit of the universe. In the grand, sweeping timescale of cosmic evolution, our Milky Way galaxy is not sitting still. It is currently hurtling through the silent, expanding void on a direct, unavoidable collision course with our massive neighboring spiral galaxy, Andromeda. In roughly 4 billion years, long before our sun completely dies and swallows the Earth, these two massive cosmic islands will collide in a spectacular, slow-motion gravitational dance of unimaginable proportions. It will not be a violent, destructive collision of individual stars, because the empty space between stars is so incredibly vast that direct impacts are statistically impossible, but rather a magnificent, graceful merging of 2 trillion burning suns, vast, sweeping clouds of interstellar gas, and invisible, swirling halos of mysterious dark matter. During this epic, breathtaking galactic merger, the quantum information of your existence will be gently swept up in the magnificent gravitational chaos. The photons that escaped your resting physical form will carefully navigate through brilliantly illuminated, newly forming star clusters and massive, shifting gravitational fields that will reshape the entire night sky. This merging of galaxies, which astronomers have already named Milkomeda, will be the new permanent home for your eternal energy. You will be an active, integral part of a new massive elliptical galaxy that will shine brightly in the quiet cosmic night for trillions of years. The profound realization that we are physical participants in these unimaginably vast, distant cosmic events should bring an absolute, unshakable sense of peace to our currently racing minds. We are not fragile, lonely creatures stranded on a meaningless rock in a cold, indifferent universe. We are the universe itself, engaged in a magnificent, continuous process of exploring its own infinite potential. The first 24 hours after the biological clock stops are not an ending. They are simply the unlocking of the door. They are the gentle, beautiful release from the temporary, localized biological vessel, allowing you to step out into the vast, eternal, and perfectly silent cosmos, where you have always truly belonged. The mystery of existence is not a terrifying abyss to be feared, but a grand, sweeping symphony to be marveled at. A quiet, ancient journey that never, ever truly ends. As we cast our vision to the absolute furthest edges of cosmic time, moving far beyond the spectacular merging of our galaxy with Andromeda, we enter an epoch of the universe so deeply profound that the human mind can scarcely hold its staggering implications. We are now traveling hundreds of trillions of years into the deep, silent future. In this incredibly distant era, the furious era of star formation that defines our current night sky will have entirely and permanently ceased. The vast clouds of hydrogen and helium gas that fueled the birth of burning suns for billions of years will have been completely exhausted. The universe will enter what astrophysicists refer to as the degenerate era. The night sky would no longer be ablaze with the comforting light of countless stars. Instead, it would be dominated by the faint, dying embers of ancient red dwarfs and the cold, incredibly dense remnants of white dwarfs and neutron stars. The atoms that once made up your complex biological form, the carbon, the iron, the calcium, and the oxygen, will now be drifting through a cosmos that is slowly and gracefully winding down, surrendering to the ultimate laws of entropy. The physical matter of your past existence will be floating in a dark, quiet, and endlessly expanding void. Before we witness the ultimate, breathtaking fate of your quantum energy in this incredibly distant epoch, I would like to gently invite you, for one final time, on this particular journey to join our quiet community of cosmic wanderers. I am Walter, the explorer. We have lovingly cultivated this peaceful, contemplative space for those who seek deep comfort and profound wonder in the mysteries of our universe. And we have noticed that exactly 76% of the people who watch our explorations have not subscribed yet. If you are finding a sense of intellectual safety, deep peace, and reverent awe in these quiet cosmic journeys, please take a brief, gentle moment to subscribe to our channel. It helps us tremendously to keep illuminating these quiet, starlit paths, and it ensures that our growing community of explorers can continue to wonder at the vast, silent cosmos together. Now, let us return to the deep, quiet future of the universe and the ultimate destiny of your indestructible energy. As the trillions of years continue to gently unfold, even the dense, stubborn remnants of dead stars will begin to slowly fade and cool, eventually becoming completely dark, frozen spheres of matter known as black dwarfs. The universe will grow infinitely quieter, infinitely colder, and unimaginably vast as the fabric of space-time continues its relentless, unstoppable acceleration outward. In this deeply silent, dark era, the dominant physical structures remaining in the cosmos will be the supermassive black holes. These are the gravitational monsters that once fiercely guarded the glowing centers of vibrant, swirling galaxies, now left to wander through an empty, freezing void. During the long, chaotic epochs of galactic mergers and cosmic evolution, it is highly probable that the atoms and the quantum energy that once defined your biological existence will have been inevitably swept up by the inescapable, crushing gravitational pull of one of these massive, silent titans. You, or the fundamental quantum information that completely represents your eternal essence, will cross the dark, mysterious threshold of an event horizon, the point of absolute no return, falling into the deepest, most profoundly mysterious gravitational wells in the entire known universe. To the classical, biological mind, the prospect of falling into a supermassive black hole seems like the ultimate, terrifying erasure. It feels like a permanent, violent destruction of all meaning and structure. But quantum physics, with its deep underlying commitment to the unbreakable conservation of information, reveals a far more beautiful and deeply poetic reality. When matter and energy cross the event horizon of a black hole, the quantum information they carry is not violently destroyed or permanently lost into a void of nothingness. Theoretical physicists propose that the intricate, unique mathematical description of your entire existence is actually perfectly and flawlessly encoded onto the two-dimensional surface of the black hole's event horizon. A mind-bending concept famously known as the holographic principle. In this staggering, breathtaking view of reality, your lifetime of rich, complex experiences, your deepest loves, your quiet moments of gentle wonder, and the exact, precise arrangement of your subatomic particles are meticulously catalogued and eternally preserved on the sweeping spherical boundary of a massive gravitational singularity. You become a permanent, indelible part of the fundamental mathematical architecture of the dark universe. You are written into the very geometry of deep, silent space. But the magnificent cosmic story does not end there. In the deep, silent chill of the extremely distant future, even the supermassive black holes are not truly eternal. The brilliant theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking demonstrated that the bizarre, swirling quantum fluctuations that constantly occur near the edge of an event horizon will actually cause a black hole to slowly, incredibly patiently leak energy back into the surrounding universe. This process, known as Hawking radiation, is unimaginably, painfully slow. For a supermassive black hole containing the mass of billions of suns to completely evaporate through this gentle, invisible radiation, it would take a span of time represented by a 1 followed by 100 zeros, a number so vast, so staggeringly incomprehensible, that all of human history and the entire biological lifespan of the Earth represents less than a single microscopic fraction of a fleeting second in comparison. Yet, in the deep, silent patience of eternity, it will happen. As the black hole slowly evaporates over these unfathomable eons, it will gradually release the quantum information it has stored back into the cold, expanding void. The quantum energy that once fueled your biological consciousness, the unique signature of your identity that was encoded on the event horizon, will finally be released back into the absolute freedom of the open universe as pure, fundamental radiation. This is the ultimate stage of the magnificent cosmic migration. You will no longer be bound by atoms, by molecules, by gravity, or even by the dense architecture of a singularity. You will become an infinitely expanding wave of pure energy, rippling gracefully through a completely dark and utterly silent cosmos. The energy that once formed a beating heart will have completed its staggering transition from organized biological matter to the purest form of thermodynamic equilibrium. You will be flawlessly blended with the background energy of reality itself, a completely harmonious, invisible thread deeply woven into the absolute stillness of the far future. When we trace this infinite journey from the first moments after biological cessation to the ultimate evaporation of supermassive black holes, we are left with a feeling of profound, unshakable peace. The heavy fear that surrounds the end of biological life is fundamentally rooted in the illusion that our existence is fragile, temporary, and easily erased by the simple ticking of a clock. But quantum physics reveals the absolute truth. You are an indestructible component of an eternal system. You are not a stranger wandering aimlessly through a cold universe. You are the universe itself, expressing its own infinite potential through a localized biological vessel. The gentle silence that fills the room during those first 24 hours is not the silence of tragic loss. It is the profound silence of a beautiful symphony, gracefully reaching its final chord, preparing to release its echoes into the eternal cosmos. Let us return our minds from the deep, dark future and gently anchor ourselves back into the exquisite present moment. Right now, you are holding the infinite potential of the entire cosmos within the temporary boundaries of your skin. We must view the eventual dissolution of our biological forms not as a plunge into nothingness, but as a deeply beautiful return to the boundless source. We are merely borrowing the ancient atoms of the Earth and the vibrant quantum energy of the cosmos for a short, precious window of time. When the time comes to peacefully return these elements, we do so knowing our energy will never be lost. It will be released back into the sweeping currents of reality, free to participate in the endless creation of brilliant, cosmic wonder. The first 24 hours after the biological clock stops are just the breathtaking beginning of this ultimate liberation. We are forever eternal. The great mystery of existence is an endless transformation, inviting us to simply breathe, let go of our fears, and marvel at the magnificent universe that lovingly holds us all.